crowd that's turned out, hoping it'll prove to be worth the wait. This fixture, 29,000 sellout at Brondbyu Stadium. Liverpool FC, a worldwide brand emerging and increasing audiences across the globe. In Scandinavia, one of their strongholds for decades, immensely popular in Denmark. Tonight's crowd, evidence of that. In fact, the country is home to 2 Liverpool fan clubs, one based in Aalborg and another in Aarhus. And I'm told that 80,000 Danish fans follow the club's official Facebook account. Not bad going. Brondbyu Stadium, also known to locals as Vilfort Park, in honour of the club legend Kim Vilfort. Home record last season wasn't too bad at all, actually. Won 7 of their 16 games. Only 2 clubs scored more home goals in the Danish Super League season last season. I mentioned earlier how this fixture was agreed as part of that transfer for Daniel Agger to Liverpool from Brondby in 2006. Agger was actually part of a Brondby side which won a domestic double in 2005. It was the last time that they won the Danish Super League. It is a fantastic welcome for both sets of players. He will be proud to be wearing that armband, Daniel Agger. Certainly will enjoy this evening. Really was such an integral part of that Brondby side which won the domestic double in the 2004-2005 season, the same season that, of course, Liverpool won their 5th Champions League. To give it its modern title, and as you can see from the 2 sets of players shaking hands, plenty of youthful-looking players in the Liverpool lineup. Here's Brondby's. No surprise to see them field a strong 11 with their league season starting this weekend. 2 names familiar to Premier League audiences in Martin Albrechtsen, formerly of West Brom and Derby, and of course Johan Almander, who spent last season on loan at Norwich from Galatasaray. Here's a squad at the moment awash with young talent. Brondby, the towering centre-forward Simon Makinok is one of many currently drawing scouts to Brondby Stadium. Kallenberg is the skipper, just exchanging the pendants with Daniel Agger. We'll get to the Liverpool lineup in a moment. I'll tell you that Brendan Rodgers has brought a 23-man squad to Denmark for this game this evening. We're expecting there to be 2 different 11s in either half. Missing from the 23, 11 Liverpool players who featured at the World Cup, and none of the 4 new signings feature. So this is a real opportunity for some promising young players to catch the eye of their coach, and indeed those returning from loan spells, the likes of Ilodi and of course Suso and Barini as well. Certainly I've been really excited to see his Rossiter in central midfield, a player who is so highly rated at Anfield, just 17 years old. We saw a big impact, didn't we, at the end of last season in the game against Fulham, when João Carlos Teixeira came on and played a role in the move which led to the penalty, from which Liverpool scored the winning goal through Steven Gerrard, you might remember. Just about ready for the off. Here is the Brondby head coach, Thomas Frank. Achieved a return to European football in his first season as Brondby coach. So it begins then, just 66 days after the Premier League season ended. Liverpool's preparations begin for the next. The Reds' first pre-season match. In stark contrast, it's Brondby's final warm-up game. The new Danish Super League season gets underway this weekend, so you'd expect a tough workout for Liverpool, Dean Saunders.
Yeah, I think today's game will be about fitness. Brondby are obviously 1 game away from peaking to the maximum fitness, which is what you try and do as a coach or manager. You try and get the players to peak for the first game of the season, so it's going to be a real tough game for Liverpool. And really early on in this game, if they're not careful, they could get caught out with the sharpness of Brondby. But I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool have been doing a lot of running, a lot of hard work, and maybe using this game as just for fitness.
Certainly will be a big gap in terms of that fitness naturally, with Liverpool only just returning to pre-season training. It's pretty warm out there as well, which will be interesting to see how Liverpool cope with that.
Great chance for some of the young players, as you said, who've been out on loan, and the manager would be really interested to see, because obviously he wouldn't have seen a lot of them. Sources one, for example. Let's see how they turn out now, and hopefully they can play a part for Brendan next season.
This match also forms part of Brondby's 50th anniversary celebrations, founded in 1964 as part of a merger of two local clubs. They are looking to, like Liverpool, really kick on next season after promising strides. Teixeira with the pass intended for Coutinho. Demisi. Elmander really is the returning hero for Brondby. That's from Brad Smith. Here's Daniel Agger. Really did get a fantastic reception. And he came out to have a look at the pitch pre-match. Crossfield pass by Lucas picks out Kelly. What a big pre-season this is for Martin Kelly. Right back, a long way forward again here for Liverpool. The early ball over. Almost fell for Teixeira. Good period of possession here for Liverpool. Last visit to Denmark was back in July 1998. Karl-Heinz Riedler scored in a 1-1 draw against Randers Freja. That's a lovely touch. Fantastic feet from Coutinho. Ball forward towards Borini wasn't bad either. And the goalkeeper, Radetsky, was quick off his line.
Well, great period of possession there for Liverpool. Both fullbacks push right on. And then they lose the ball, but Coutinho, a brilliant bit of skill, and if he's got the right weight on the pass here, Borini should have done a bit better for me. He should have probably put his body across the defender to make sure the defender wasn't getting at the ball, and took it with his right foot. I think he's allowed the defender to stick his toe in there, and good start for Liverpool.
Sunderland's young player of the year last season, Fabio Borini, really did weigh in with some very important goals towards the end of the season, and scored in the League Cup final defeat against Manchester City at Wembley.
He's got to be thinking to himself now, if I can just play well in pre-season, I've got a chance here with Suarez going, and that'll be his aim.
Header was by Holst. This is Ernska. Really does make Brondby tick, the captain, Thomas Keilenberg. Szymanowski to Keilenberg again. So much of their play will go through him. Szymanowski. Challenge came in from Kelly. Both sets of players appealing for it, but it will go Liverpool's way. In here, certainly making their voices heard. As you can see, a fair amount of them wearing the red of Liverpool.
It's amazing Liverpool's support in Scandinavia. Obviously, I played for the club, and we used to go to Norway, Denmark, and full house every time. They just love the club. It's a big game for him, that young Jordan Rossiter today, 17 years of age, playing in Liverpool's first team in front of 30,000 near enough. He'll be playing just off the front man, trying to get in behind him and get the ball and try and thread the front three. Both teams playing the same system with two sitting midfield players, which allows the fullbacks to push right on. Obviously vulnerable on counter-attacks, but it allows you two fullbacks to get right up the pitch.
He really does boast an extensive passing range. Jordan Rossiter, England youth international, made the bench for Liverpool twice in the Premier League last season. At Chelsea, at home against Hull City. Regular with the under-21s. He's been training a lot with the first team. Back since he was 16. Liverpool born. Means a lot to him. Here's Szymanowski. Kehlenberg. Scott. Norgard. Plenty of red shirts behind the ball here, making themselves as difficult as possible to break down. It's defence an area that Brendan Rodgers keen to work on. Only Tottenham Hotspur conceded more goals in the Premier League's top 8 last season. So at the other end, Liverpool managed over 100 though. So exciting going forward, Liverpool.
Yeah, I actually think Brendan stumbled across it. Obviously didn't realise how well Sturridge was going to do with Suarez was suspended. And Sturridge done really well, and then obviously after 8 games he had to put Suarez back in the team and thought, how am I going to do this? And managed to do it, and they turned him into from a solid team into a free scoring team, and it was brilliant to watch.
It's the 20-year-old Danish under-21 international. Reza Demisi stood over this for Brondbyu. Not a bad delivery, but it's gathered in by Brad Jones.
Well, you got to score from that, really. I think if you're a front player, striker, the ball's gone into an area there where you just need a toe poke. Not a bad delivery. Daft foul to give away from Lucas on the edge of the box. No better, dangling his leg in, but that might be a little bit of tiredness from the training they've been doing.
Well, one back here by Liverpool. It's Barini. Support arriving from Suso and others. Brondbyu with plenty back. Liverpool pick the lock here. Shot watched wide by Lucas Radecki.
Yeah, like I say, Liverpool's system has its strengths and weaknesses. The strengths are obviously you can get your 2 full-backs forward. The front 3 come in off the line. 2 wide players come in off the line and try and get in behind the opposition's midfield into little pockets. The centre forward stays up on the last man to try and get in behind the back 4. The vulnerable side of it is your 2 full-backs get caught out of position. If you give the ball away, you can get counter-attacked. But Brendan Rodgers spends hours on the training ground making sure they go over sessions on that.
Really just not quite able to take that in his stride.
At least he's threatening to get in behind, because that's what you need one player always threatening to get in behind, otherwise you're passing in front of teams all the time.
They look for Barini, who has a cursory look across the line. Kehlenberg. Scott. To cheer for Semberger. And Martin Albrecht. Gave away a penalty in their most recent pre-season friendly, Brondbyu. It was a 1-1 draw against Bolton. Looking dangerous here though, Almanda loitering on the edge of the area. It will be the first corner kick of the evening for Brondbyu.
Well, it was a great pass in behind, and they get a corner out of it, but as I said, this team are nearly peak fitness. All these players at Brondbyu should be ready for action, and you'll notice the difference in sharpness. And what happens as a player at Liverpool, you turn up, some of these players won't be expecting a crowd like this, believe it or not. They turn up and all of a sudden this team want to beat you.
It's Demisi who sends in the corner. Dealt with by Liverpool though. Guided out of play by Brad Smith. You might remember made his debut for Liverpool as a second-half substitute in the Premier League defeat at Chelsea last season. A left-back by trade. He was actually brought on in a left-wing position that day. Martin Kelly not able to get there before Szymanowski. He's a tricky customer.
Yeah, it would drive you mad as a striker there. He's Kelly, come back on his right foot. Why he didn't cross it, I don't know. He tried to beat him again. As a centre forward, you're pulling your hair out in the middle of the pitch. Just cross it.
Kelly. Now Lucas.
I used to love playing in these games, though, pre-season. You know, you're doing all your running and plodding, and then you come to a stadium like this is full. Sun shining, perfect pitch, playing for Liverpool. Brilliant. Can't get any better. Unless you're a Man United fan.
Time, I should imagine it's difficult to enjoy the early days of pre-season training.
Oh, it's murder. You blisters, and you just moan your way through the first 4 weeks, just moan at everything.
How impressed have you been with the fact that Ricky Lambert's come back to training a week earlier than he needs to?
Well, he can't believe his luck, can he? He's playing for this team, signing for Liverpool at 30. Is he 31, 30? And he probably can't wait for the season to start. Well, that tells you everything. He's come back from holidays.
Of course, Ricky Lambert, one of 4 new signings so far by Liverpool, confirmed the arrival yesterday of Lazar Markovic as well, brought in from Benfica. There are the other signings as well, Emre Can from Bayer Leverkusen, and indeed Adam Lallana from Southampton. It's an impressive, just under 60 million. That's a good ball over as well, towards Mackinock. This is Elmander looking to spin in the area, and they did just enough there, Liverpool.
Well, that was better from Brondbyu, the cross coming early there for Mackinock, who's obviously got a lot of goals from over the last couple of years. This is what you want as a striker. Great ball in there, just go and attack that. And there's Elmander showing how sharp he is compared to Aga. He gets to the ball first, didn't have the skill to actually get a shot off. Just a bit of sharpness there showing.
They scored the 1 goal in 29 Premier League appearances for Norwich last season. Elmander, difficult campaign for him and indeed his club as well. Of course, Norwich relegated, was on loan from Galatasaray. It's not that long ago, you know, that Bolton paid over £8 million for Johan Elmander from Toulouse.
Well, he's a good goal scorer, always got an eye for goal, but not the most mobile player you've ever seen. But always got goals. Good signing for Brondbyu.
And coming back to the club has certainly brought back some happy memories for Brondbyu supporters of them winning the double. One of the key players in that team, along with Daniel Agger and Kehlenberg as well.
Yeah, I don't understand how it took 8.5 years to get this fixture off and running, but they managed to get a full house in anyway.
Unlike perhaps in your day at Liverpool, I suppose the Scandinavia was maybe the destination of choice for Liverpool for a pre-season tour. Of course, these days it's more likely to be the USA or even further afield, isn't it?
I learnt my first lesson on that tour, Norway. I ordered a chicken for pre-season, for a pre-match meal.
Liverpool have worked this well through Coutinho, but it was just miscontrolled on the edge of the area by Teixeira.
Sorry, I was just saying, I ordered, I know it's off the wall, but I ordered a... Ronnie Moran used to go around collecting what you want, fish, chicken or steak. I ordered a chicken. When the chicken came round, I didn't like the look of it, so I said I'll have the steak. He went, then we were chicken short, steak short, sorry, and he's gone around counting, and eventually he was going to catch me out, so he came to me and said, have you ordered the... I said, yes, me. Son, we don't do that at Liverpool. He absolutely slaughtered me because I ordered the... And it was all about being selfish, you know, playing for the... It is all connected. It's like, you know, a bit harsh, but I learned my lesson quickly. First, just paid 2.9 million for me. Hammered me for eating a fillet steak.
Here's Ilori. He's back, of course, from a loan spell with Granada in La Liga. Spent the first half of last season acclimatising, if you like, at Melwood, and then sent out to get some first-team experience. Interesting to see whether he's loaned out again by Brendan Rodgers.
He's been somewhere nice as well.
Oh, I'm told only right back from Brazil yesterday. That's not a bad effort. It just goes wide from Suso. Plane arrived back in England at around midday yesterday.
That's good play from Suso. That's what he's got to do. He's come inside on his left foot. He's been out on loan. Another player with a point to prove. He's got to produce because he's been there a while now. He's not just arrived. He's got to force his way in.
Yet to see either goalkeeper really work so far.
See what Barini should be thinking for me, and Lambert will be thinking the same. Don't give anybody first bite of the cherry now pre-season. If I can get in the shirt first. Now Barini's got the shirt tonight, so if he bangs a couple of goals in tonight, it makes it a bit more difficult for Lambert and Lallana to come in and take his shirt. And that's how you've got to think as a player. If the minute you stop at Liverpool, they'll replace it.
Certainly, despite the departure of Luis Suarez, the competition for places in the forward areas still will be very intense indeed. Real excitement at the arrival of Markovic from Benfica. Szymanowski has managed to keep that in, but it's gathered well here by Jones.
Yeah, Markovic is a great player. I think it's hard to replace Suarez. I mean,
you can't, can you?
No. I mean, Liverpool spent 60 million. I don't know what they got for Suarez. 75 is reported, 70. I don't know. But no matter how much you've received, it's hard. For me, he was like last season was one of the best players in the world. I think for actually producing and winning games on his own. Him and Suarez were just beating teams up between them. So there'll be a blow. But as you said to me before we started the show, Keegan left, Dalglish left, Rush left. And life goes on. Torres, life goes on. Yeah.
Early ball in by Smith. It will come all the way across here for Suso. Just lost his footing at the vital moment, but has managed to retain it here, Suso. It's a clever pass as well towards Lucas. Helped on its way by Teixeira. Felipe Coutinho to have a go.
Brilliant play. Great skill. I mean, so like there's lots of players who produce nothing, but this is half a yard, head down, struck the ball really well. It's just off target, but it's a brilliant drag back, bit of skill. Defenders can't live with that. That's what all these players should be thinking. Can I get half a yard? He's not caught the shot properly, but good positive play.
Been desperate to get back into training. Coutinho said he was driven crazy by the off-season.
Well, after the fortnight, you get fed up. It's great having a bit of a rest, and then you just want to get back in and back into training.
The way that Liverpool played last season, what they achieved, you'd imagine that buzz is even greater at the club perhaps than it has been in a long time to get back going again.
It's going to be hard to achieve what they done last year, though.
Barini's made a run into the area, it isn't used, and held into his chest by Radetsky. He's a Finland international.
Yeah, I don't know how long we've been playing. That's 18 minutes. I think Liverpool have had 7 or 8 shots. And if Brondbyu keeps standing off them from 25 yards, I'm sure one of these Liverpool players will smack one in.
It's a Brondbyu side, this as well. Very similar to the one that ended last season strongly. They were unbeaten in their final 7 games. In fact, had it not been for a terrible start to last season, they could have been title challengers. Didn't win any of their first 7 league games under Thomas Frank. Lost 4 of them, but they went on to lose just 3 more times in the rest of the campaign. Jones has come a long way, but it was a good decision.
When I played against these players, you know, whether it was at international level, club level, you never have like an easy game. They're always fit, they're always motivated. They actually think, some of these players will think, if I play well today, Liverpool might sign me. So their motivation in this game, all these players, is we're playing against Liverpool. They've probably watched on TV, and if I play well, they'll sign me. The Liverpool's motivation for their players is they're thinking they're trying to get fit, and you can get caught out. That's when you get beat.
Free kick given away by Jordan Rossiter.
Same Graham Souness was the manager when I was there. Ronnie Moran, Roy Evans, they've been there years, won loads of titles. They used to organise these games on purpose because it was a chance to say what they wanted to say. If you got beat by one of these teams, they would blurt it all out.
Keilenberg with the free kick. Ball's here to Barini. Now Suso. Coutinho is looking a little stretched for a moment there, Brondbyu, but Liverpool exploit it on that occasion. Coutinho. Smith ran beyond him. Suso. Borini waiting in the middle. Teixeira is dispossessed. Problem here for Thiago Ilori, which would be really frustrating. Fantastic opportunity really during pre-season for him to prove that he should be part of the first team squad at Liverpool. And he had that loan spell in the second half of last season in Spain. They paid big money for him, Liverpool, to Sporting of Portugal back in August of 2013, a reported fee of £8 million. Still yet to make his Liverpool debut, an unused substitute 3 times before that loan spell. Here's Kehlenberg. Must be desperate to just get going, Ilori, in a Liverpool shirt. Kehlenberg again. Touched by Agger.
But I just seen him feeling the back of his leg there. It might be a hamstring he's gone off with, but if that's the case, 2 weeks, and it's, you know, as long as you get the first part of the training in, the running, and you do all the base work, you're all right. If you miss the first 2 weeks, it's hard to catch up.
Kevin Stewart, the man coming on, who signed from Tottenham on the 2nd of July on a 2-year deal. He'd been at Spurs since July of 2010. He would have been known Liverpool through Alex Inglethorpe, who is the Liverpool under-21 coach who used to work at Spurs. I would imagine that's where the link has come. He says he was a boyhood Liverpool supporter, so what a moment for him.
Yeah, he's a good player. I've seen him play quite a bit. Really skillful, sharp. Another great chance for him. Unsure what you can do.
A lot earlier than perhaps he would have expected. Semberger. Ernskop. Towards Szymanowski. Early touch for Stewart, and it's a fine shot on goal. Note that is for Brondbyu. A fantastic strike to beat Brad Jones. And it's Christian Nørgaard, the Danish under-21 international, who's given Thomas Frank's side a 1-0 lead here.
Well, I said go out and show what you can do, a young Stewart. I didn't mean put the centre forward in on goal. He's just, his first touch, absolute disaster for him. He's come on, scuffed the clearance, but I have to say after that, I mean, he's made a mistake, but he's really took it well. Looked, gave the goalkeeper the eyes, looked as if he was going to bend it in that corner, and reversed it back in the other corner. Could the keeper have done better?
Fabulous hit by Nørgaard. Actually left Denmark originally to go to Germany and Hamburg when he was 17. He was a regular for the reserves there, but never made his Bundesliga debut. Maybe it was perhaps a case of too much too soon. Returned to his native country and is flourishing now at Brondbyu, and that is evidence of it.
Well, it's a great finish. When you look at it from behind the goal, the goalkeeper had no chance of the post. You've got to say he's took it really well. That would grace any game. Doesn't look like scoring. It's just a mistake and a good finish.
Get them out of the system in pre-season. Elmander waits in the middle. McKinnock is there as well. Real purpose, verve about Brondby's play now. Domisi. Liverpool with plenty back here. Looking to use the pace here of Borini. Needs some support. It's arriving through Stewart. It's not been a good few minutes for the substitute.
No, there's an example of his system, though. The system, the Brondby system, letting him down. Borini just peels into the holes that the fullbacks come out of, and he's in on goal.
This is Szymanowski. And still trying to hold off Kelly. Calmly done by Daniel Agger.
Yeah, poor lad Kevin Stewart. He's come on 2 touches. First one's a disaster, and then he slips over. He'll be nervous. It's nice to see him get a shot off, or maybe score a goal. He feels a bit better himself. But he would have been really nervous before the kick-off.
It's a real test of character for the 20-year-old now. I guess that's the sort of thing you're looking for as a coach, isn't it, in pre-season and indeed as a teammate, to see how someone responds to that sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, like any sport, self-belief is everything. If you don't have self-belief, you don't think you're a good player, then you've got no chance. So that's how he bounces back now from that. Does he curl up in a ball and just say, don't pass to me, or does he say, no, give me the ball now, come on, I can get this out of my system and contribute to the win.
Ernska. The clearance was by Smith, who finds touch. It's worth reminding you, this is Brondby's 6th and final pre-season friendly. A lot more game time under their belts than Liverpool. Their first friendly was on the 19th of June, and they are unbeaten so far in 5 matches.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, sometimes you'd be running before this game, and nobody realises watching the game, but we just finished a running.
Rossiter, of course, Liverpool's next pre-season friendly is this weekend at Preston North End at Deepdale, a game that you can see live on BT Sport. Kallenberg. That game against Preston, by the way, Saturday from 2:30 on BT Sport 1. Coutinho, Liverpool looking to reply here. Really good move forward, this. Delta, Daniel Agger of all people inside the area. Liverpool showing real ambition, getting forward. Coutinho, who was found by Teixeira. Suso. Just can't quite find the room for the shot. Lucas. Stewart. Here by Felipe Coutinho. Marini. Players arriving in the middle. The shot was by Marini. This is Coutinho. He turned inside the area. A good save as well by Rodetsky. He has to gather at the second time of asking as well. More encouragement for the Liverpool supporters. That was better.
Yeah, Coutinho's at the heart of everything. Looks really sharp, really skillful. I thought he had a chance to put Barini in when he put Agger in. He chose the wrong option. Barini was in early. But round the box, he looks really sharp and really inventive, and he's the first to react again from the shot. He's put the striker through and then followed it himself. But good play from Liverpool. I'm sure they'll come back and get some goals in this game.
At the moment, they have some defending to do with Brondby winning a corner. It's Liverpool with the opposition on one of the greatest nights in Brondby's history. Knocks Roy Evans' Liverpool side out of the UEFA Cup in October of 1995. 1-0 it was at Anfield. First leg had finished 0-0. Dan Egan it was for Brondby. The side included the likes of McManaman, Rush, Fowler, Redknapp, Barnes. It's Demisi with the corner here for Brondby. The delivery it was too, but just couldn't quite keep the header down. The former West Brom player Albrechtsen. Well,
young Brad Smith here, he's marking him. Just lets him drift off. That's a bad sign. How old is he, Brad Smith? 20? 21? If you can't pick somebody up from a corner and stay with them, that's the basics for a defender. Just let the boy get inside him and get free-headed. He's got to learn from that.
He did well in the final game of last season, another friendly away against Shamrock Rovers when he was played in his favoured left-back position, Brad Smith, as he is doing today. He's actually born in Australia, moved to England at the age of 14, Brad Smith. England under-21 international.
Well, I would be showing him the DVD tomorrow, saying, look, you know, that could happen on the last day of the season when we're trying to win the league. I put you in the team. Are you going to do that? And let John Terry come and head one in. So show them the DVD. That's how they learn, young players, sometimes looking at and say, look, you know, what you're going to do different to that. Can't let him get inside you. If he's going to get a header in, make sure it's behind you, out the back.
It's past the half-hour mark at the Brondbyu Stadium. Goal separating the two sides. Real beauty. Scored by Christian Nørgaard.
Two good players on the bench there. Colin Pascoe, I played with him at Swansea when I was a young player. Really skillful. Went on to Sunderland. And Mike Marsh was the best five-a-side player I've ever played with, but really good. Obviously 11v11, but in training, five-a-side, his touch was brilliant. Got a bad injury, had to pack in early.
Pass intended for Szymanowski, slightly off its target. Kelly goes down. Rather Suso, I should say, as Stewart looks to win a throw-in. Szymanowski. Lucas. McKeenock it was who was first to it for Bromby. Keilenberg. Now Frederick Holst. 19-year-old right-back Holst. In fact, he's Bromby's youngest ever debutant, 17 years. Ball just sitting off for a moment. Header from Ernskot. Heady pass by Barini, but well controlled by Agger. Now Coutinho. Run beyond him was by Smith. Stewart. Of course, we have so much pre-season entertainment coming up for you on BT Sport. Let's point you in the direction of Tottenham against the Seattle Sounders. That on BT Sport 1, Saturday at 9 o'clock. Thomas Frank absolutely delighted with the way his side have acquitted themselves so far, achieving a return to European football in his first season with the club. Didn't actually have any playing career. His coaching career began 19 years ago within youth football, eventually put in charge of the Danish under-17s in 2008, promoted to the under-19s in 2012, and narrowly missed out on qualification with them for the 2013 under-19 European Championship. He's impressed plenty of people in his first club job. This one for Suso to chase. Tidied up by the experienced Albrechtsen. Miscontrolled by Szymanowski. Bodied forward by Stewart to Rossiter. Dispossessed by Szymanowski. Elmander. Won back fairly by Suso, who has Stewart in support. It's a neat 1-2. Barini with a run through the middle. Stewart's gone for the return. It was the right idea, but just came off the heels of Semberger.
Not been goals in the game. A bit testimonial-ish. In the game there was Lucas Levers gave a foul away early on. Another foul Brad Smith gave away, but I think it's been 3 or 4 fouls.
We talked about how would respond to that difficult start to his game. We saw just down that right-hand side there, it's been a good response.
Yeah, he could have just sat back. He's tried to overlap twice. He could have just sat back there, but he's trying to get involved in the game, redeem himself. He'll be happy to get the game played and feel part of the group.
Teixeira.
Penalty.
Barini was in the middle, but referee had a good view of that. Wasn't interested. It's through the legs of McKeenock. So shot was certainly travelling.
He's probably just outside the box, but I think it was a foul. Seen him given.
Sliding challenge penalised. Stewart, it was with it.
Yeah, that's trying a bit too hard there. You're going to give a foul away. If you dive in like that, you're going to give a foul away nowadays. They've changed the rules. Stay on your feet.
Semberger. Guided out of play by Smith. Certainly youth a real watchword at Brondbyu right now. Really been trying to find the sprinkling of experience needed to help them develop and challenge for Honors Johan Elmander. His arrival, an example of that. Before his signing, they actually fielded a team in pre-season with an average age of just under 21. Of course, Liverpool fans too, with calls for excitement about young prospects in and around the first team. You already know about the likes of Sterling and Flanagan. But who perhaps has a breakthrough season ahead of them?
There's a quiz question. Which former Liverpool goalkeeper played for Brondbyu?
Shall we tell them now?
Leave them think about it for a minute.
I didn't know when you told me this before the game, I should say. Barini just clipping the heels there. He was on loan from Newcastle, wasn't it?
Yeah. Give you a clue, he's still playing. And he's American.
So Mr. Brad Friedel. Yeah. What a career he's had. A good friend of yours?
Yeah, I played with him at Galatasaray. Obviously, we've been good friends. And I was his coach at Blackburn for a number of years, but he's been a brilliant goalkeeper, hasn't he? You never see him make many mistakes. Still going, great athlete.
Szymanowski with the ball over. No nonsense clearance was by Agger. Rossiter puts it out of play for Liverpool. Kehlenberg. Both these clubs eagerly anticipating a return to European action this season. Liverpool back in the Champions League after a 4-season absence. Far too long for a club of Liverpool stature.
No, and the biggest thing of all is when you're sitting down with a player trying to get him to sign for you, he's got other options. And if you're not in the Champions League, he's signing for the teams that are. So now Liverpool have got that weapon. So the best players will come and sign for him because they're playing in the Champions League. And obviously you get better results. A chain reaction from there.
Certainly will be the lasting legacy, won't it, of Luis Suarez to help the club get back into that position. 31 Premier League goals last season, 10 more than second in the list, which was Sturridge.
Yeah, and as I said, you know, it's all right having 75 million to spend, but if you're not in the Champions League, you're on shelf 2 when you're shopping. When you're in the Champions League, you can spend all that money on the top players because, like I said, they know they're going to be playing in the greatest competition there is.
Stewart. Rossiter in support, decided not to use him, picks out Suso instead. Held off the defender well there, Suso. He's getting forward here for Liverpool, and a deflection takes it out for a corner.
Well, there's an example of what you've got to do to this system. When a team's playing with 2 sitting midfield players, obviously the middle of the pitch is full. You can't go through the middle of the teams. You've got to keep switching play, like Liverpool have tried there. They've gone on the right, and then the full-back come and make one, which Brad Smith's done there and nearly scored.
Showing plenty of ambition to get forward from left back. Smith always in towards Kelly, headed by Elmander. Lucas. His 8th season at Liverpool, Lucas. Of course, last campaign frustrating for him in terms of injuries. Barini's in the middle, goalkeeper's done well there to get it clear. Radetsky. He's been reliable when called upon so far, the Finland international.
Good run from Barini, though. He made the right run as a striker, getting across the near post. Could have scored if the ball was a bit lower. But he's made the right.
Was Barini a player who was so well known to Brendan Rodgers before he brought him to Liverpool? With him both within the Chelsea youth setup and the first team at Swansea when he was once on loan. You would think if anybody can get that talent out of Barini, it will be Brendan Rodgers, and was so effective at times, particularly in the second half of last season at Sunderland. Mentioned earlier some of the really important goals he scored, but here come Liverpool again. Stuck a bit stretched here. Bromby at the back, the ball over by Smith. There were three inside the area, just couldn't quite pick out the pass or find the room for it, the left back.
No, well, that's the difference. At the highest level, he's done brilliant to get young Smith, and all he's got to do is pick his head up, just put a bit of disguise on what he was trying to do and chop the ball back. I think Coutinho was coming in for a tap-in. Wrong option, picked the wrong option.
Thomas Frank will love testing himself against someone like Brendan Rodgers. He's a very ambitious young coach, Thomas Frank. Now, Brendan Rodgers is slightly older than him. Be used to that. Sousa.
Brendan Rodgers, he's done brilliant, doesn't he? Really, with when you look back, sit back and think about what he's done and what he had to do when he first arrived at the club. Finishing where they did last year, selling a player for 70 million. I think his bosses must be really pleased with him.
Well, to go from 7th to 2nd is quite some going. First ever Liverpool manager to win the prestigious LMA Manager of the Year award in its 20-year history. It's a deep delivery, which is met by the head of Martin Albrechtsen. He's kept in though. So plenty in there for Liverpool. Controlled by Elmander on the edge of the area. It's a period of concerted pressure here from Liverpool. Get back on terms before the break.
Bit harsh, I think, the foul there. Why stick your leg in though? Why give him a chance? Barini's done well. He's felt the tackle. There was a lot of debate in the World Cup whether we should be buying more fouls, British players. There's an example there of Barini waiting for the contact, getting the touch, over he goes, gets a free kick.
It's Coutinho who will take this for Liverpool. Floated delivery is far too close to Lukas Radecki.
A waste. These things happen though, pre-season. I don't know what he's aiming for there. I think he's trying to score.
He's a player who left his native Brazil at the age of 16 to go to Internazionale those years ago. Felipe Coutinho, maybe was a little too young for it at the time, but certainly impressed so many people last season with Liverpool. And you feel there's more to come from him as well. Still a young man at 22.
Yeah, he's got terrific skill. He's not really interested in the physical side of the game, but he's got terrific skill. Sees a pass, can put people in on goal and can score himself. He done some brilliant things in the latter part of last season. When you think you've got Henderson, Lambert, Jan, Lallana, Sterling, Gerrard to come into this squad, must excite all the Liverpool fans. And I'm sure he's not finished yet, Brendan, with the spending.
Well, certainly a left back is a priority, doesn't it? And maybe another centre half. Of course, Liverpool's strength in depth will be much more tested this season. Could get an equalising goal here. It almost fell for Barini. The original shot was by Lucas. It's Coutinho. Been added on time at the end of the first half. Liverpool coming so close to an equalising goal. Being played in real heat here. The Danish capital, and it's the home side Brondbyu who have the half-time lead. A real beauty of a goal scored by the Danish under-21 international Christian Norgard. The difference between the two sides. Here is that effort for Liverpool. A shot by Lucas, and the goalkeeper really brave there, diving at the feet of Fabio Borini. And Coutinho dispossessed, and the chance was gone. And there was the half-time whistle. We'll look back at the best of the first half next.
I can see it going, but I don't know what to do. Hold on. I can hear you.
I can't see it.
No, I can't see you either. Oh!
It's fantastic!
Thank you so much for